lily pilly. The woolly bush I bought from Bunnings. What does my nursery man say? Wash your mouth out, Bunnings. That's what I mean. And I paid $15. I've had it 2.5 years. And you had one, and I said,
I killed one.
how interesting. I'll have a go at that.
I've killed one.
They are beautiful to work with. They're soft. They're lovely. It looks a bit ordinary now because I did severely prune it. They don't seem to mind being bent. They seem to be quite good about all that. They are really strong growers in the tip. They're a bush. They're usually used for hedges in the garden. Its proper name is Adenanthus. It has little flowers. So really I've found, you can see how weak these down here are because it keeps going here. So I'm experimenting and hoping that if I really, really, really keep attacking the top, that we'll get some thickening of the branches down here. It's thickened up really quickly. I think it has potential. I'll report back in a couple of years' time and see if it's still alive. Has anyone else got one? Yes, and how's yours going?
I haven't had it very long. I've only had it about a month.
Okay.
But I've killed them before. In the garden I killed them. I love to water things.
Yeah.
So, but this one's coming on really, I think it must be a slightly different variety.
Okay, so there's a
Yeah.
silver streak and
Yeah.
there's the standard one.
Yes, it's doing okay.
This also needs to be repotted. Another reason it's looking a bit ordinary. But before I pruned it, we had all this lovely sort of golden edges on it and it gets little red flowers. So I think it's something to think about if you're passing the nursery and you can pick one up for $15.
What sort of mix do you have that in?
I've got it in the standard mix that I put everything in. Let me
So
see if I can
I had
remember.
quite a large one, which I hacked the hell out of it. And it was going quite well, but when I pulled it out of its big tub
Okay.
and cut it down a bit and popped it into a smaller pot, the soil that came out of it was virtually sand. That was in
Okay.
the pot. It's full of ants and stuff as well too, so I swapped it most, I didn't bend with it, but I swapped it mostly my kind of standard mix. And
Okay.
it seemed to really, really struggle,
Okay.
and I don't know what happened with it, but then I just carved it. Yours has
So far, so good.
You're going to overwater them? Is that what it
Yes.
is? They
Yeah.
rot really easy or something?
Yep.
Might
I've
be
killed mine too.
too much
Oh.
water.
Mine does actually often look quite wet, and it doesn't seem to
Making me feel
mind.
better.
It sort of sits where it gets quite a bit of water.
Might have a really free draining mix.
Yeah, it has got a good draining mix, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So that's the woolly bush. I've had no pests and diseases. And I just think if you're wanting to experiment with something, it's worth thinking about.
Do we know where it come, what locality it comes from?
Western Australia.
Western Australia.
Yep. And I've never seen a hedge of it, but they tell me they're very popular for hedges. Has anyone ever seen a woolly bush hedge? Anyway, it's lovely and soft to work with. If the bottom branches thicken up, could be on a winner. If they stay straggly, maybe not.
I think they look a little white piney
Mm.
in the way
They do.
yeah.
They do. Turpentine, I've talked about the turpentines before. Another thing I'm experimenting with. This one would now be, it's grown from seed. It would be probably 3.5 years old. I could not buy one. Clive may be jealous. He had one. I said I want one. Maybe I didn't offer enough.
It could have been.
So I grew it from seed. Growing it from seed, as you might remember what I taught last, you need to, it's got those funny seed pods that look like a Christmas decoration. Get all the seeds out, soak them for 24 hours, and then they seem to sprout vigorously. I have 3 of them, and I have tried all sorts of things with them. This one I've just grew and grew and grew, grew and grew. I've given it no chance to really take off. Another one I let take off and it's got quite thick. And then I said, so I cut every branch off. I said, that'll test you. I've got branches everywhere again. I can't believe it, a native. So the leaves come down in size. It has nice pink new growth. It doesn't seem to mind being wired. You can't see, but this here where I've cut the top off, you can't actually see it there, but I am absolutely confident it will sprout out of the middle. If you come out and have a look, you'll see on some of them, there seems to be another growth point in between, and they seem to just sprout everywhere and put out new leaves. So they're another one that I think is worth thinking about. I've had no problems, no diseases, no pests. Seems to tolerate just about everything I throw at it. So I think turpentines are a good one to think about. They grow locally. Do you know anyone? Do you all know turpentines? Yeah. So they're big, big trees with great rough bark on them. None of mine have got rough bark on them yet. Another 10 years
have
maybe.
any of yours developed a rough bark?
Not yet. I'd say 10 years probably. And they're enormous trees. They originally were used to make wharfs.
Yeah, it's all the wharf.
Yeah,
because of
turpentine, yeah.
the turpentine sort of oiliness of the timber. So I think there's something worth thinking about. And the last one I had was a lily pilly. I think it is I've had it long enough for it to be a syzygium, and now it's an academia, Smithii. And I have never had any problems with it until this year when it got psyllids everywhere. And they are a little sucking insect. Some of them are supposed to, and I thought this was one of the ones that was resistant to them. And the leaves get all holes and pucker, and on a bushy garden it doesn't matter, but my gosh, it knocks a bonsai about. So I have been every 3 days I just, and I seem to have finally got rid of them and they're starting to grow again. They grow very quickly, they thicken up quickly. The leaves come down. The only thing I don't like about them is they sprout everywhere in the middle. So every time when you come to prune it again, you've got to get 15 dozen shoots out from inside. But once that's done, it settles down again. Any questions?
I notice, like, I have lily pillies popping up all throughout my garden, like weeds
Okay.
everywhere. And I notice a lot of them get that weird bubbly little
That's the psyllids.
thing. That's from insects.
Yep.
I thought it was like some kind of weird fungal disease.
No, a little sapsucker. They're called flying lice.
So what have you been using? Is that just a bit of white oil or?
Do they?
What have you been using, sorry, Denise?
I have been using quite a lot of insecticides. I'm pyrethrum over and over and over and over again. I reckon it's probably got something like a 3-day cycle. And the leaves go all hocky and they tend to go brown and revolting when it happens. Some of them are resistant, so if you're thinking about getting one. The other thing that's lovely about them is this one gets creamy flowers, gets flowers all over it, look a bit like a gum flower, and then get red berries everywhere as well. So they, all year round, I think they look pretty good. I usually cut at least 50% of the flowers off and then 50% of the berries off because it really does drain the tree.
What do you fertilise your daisies with?
Chris Holman isn't here. It's not a fertiliser, apparently. I do use sea mungus. I do use some blood and bone, which I notice, but I seem to get away with it. And I usually often just use a liquid fertiliser that's got a bit more nitrogen. So I alternate around. Yes. Who's next?
Karen, did you want to go next? Now these